This forest, predominantly of balsam fir, was a field 30 years ago. Some of the trees that you see that are older, larger, the hardwoods were left here. So this was heavily cut. With regards to the oldest trees in a forest, there are two general types. There's what I learned as the shelter wood. Here's an old one right here, this big oak. And to the right you'll see a pine. Right, their canopies tower over the rest, but if you look down to where the rest of the trees are, there's no branches. There's no branches on either the oak to the left of the screen or the pine that's disappearing behind this balsam fir. And the reason there's no branches is because there was no sunlight for the entirety of the tree as it grew to that height. Shelterwood is the older trees that have grown up in a forest environment. When they were seedlings, they had to compete, just like the rest of their community, for sunlight. The other old or older tree form is the wolf tree. It could be any species, but this indicates that it had low, giant branches sprawling out everywhere. You can see where this one fell, and there's a giant scar on both the trunks of this combination of an oak and a maple. And then the canopy is just everywhere. Bad hair day on a massive scale. Each of those horizontal limbs are thicker than most of the surrounding trees, which gives you an idea of how old the forest is. You can bracket this forest. I know that. Now, the reason this tree was left to stand for so long is quite simply it's on a boundary line. It's on a rock wall, and you'll see barbed wire growing through it. You can see the wire growing right through this tree. All right, to give you its age. And that's one of the reasons they didn't cut it down. So you'll find wolf trees are often boundary markers for property lines, and that's a great navigational tool. I know that this tree is at least 200 years old based on some of the stumps from when this land was sold to us. The elderly couple that sold it to the school, they used it as their retirement. Now if we look beyond just this tree into the rest of the forest, you'll notice most of the tree trunks are of a uniform diameter. While their species is mixed, most of them are needle-leaf trees. We've got some pioneer balsam fir, mixed with white pine that likes their feet dry, mixed with hemlock that prefers wet soil, and then in the deciduous realm we have maples and oaks. So this landscape has been tended. It has been consciously harvested for timber. We know that because there's not a lot of understory. The new growth coming up is balsam fir. The pines were thinned so that they grew straight and tall and as knot free as possible to make good boards. This is an active tree farm, if you will, or forest project. There's a program in place here to raise a sustainable crop of lumber.